Welcome to Identity Matters with Dr. Kathleen Perry. Join in to explore one of life's big questions. Who am I really? The Identity Matters podcast will show you that you are and always have been innately whole and worthy just as you are. So slow down, relax, and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to Identity Matters. I'm your host, Dr. Kathleen Perry. I want to talk about two different authors and teachers, and I love pointing to what looks like on the surface two opposite pieces of advice. And I'll say up front, these two are not the only ones that are pointing to this, but this particular pairing, it just happens to be alive for me right now. So I'm listening to Michael Singer's most recent book, and I can't really even remember. Untethered Wisdom, I think. And it's in a Q&A format, so that's kind of interesting, different for him. I'm listening to it on audio, and I'll be honest, as far as like recommending it, I'm a little bit neutral, but it's fine. I still just want to share that it's got me thinking. And one part of his core teaching is that you should, or could, I don't want to say should, it is about letting go of wanting. And I know where he's coming from. And he's talking about this sort of desperate, clinging, grasping, I need things to be a certain way kind of wanting. Like, I want this job because I need this job, because I need the recognition, I need the validation, I need this money, that sort of wanting. Or I need this person to love me back, or I'm just not worthy. I'm not lovable if I don't feel that return of love, so I want that. So it's kind of that sort of thing, which is more than just simple desire. It's kind of an attachment to things being a certain way. And I think that's really what he's referring to. So his thing is not to want and to just be in the river, in the flow of life, and just see what unfolds and be good with what's here. I get all that. So a lot of what he's talking about, I think, is just to lose that grasping, the grip, the clinging to wanting things a certain way. So then my mentor, Michael Neal, he says something that really sounds like it's the opposite. And he's all about finding out what you actually want. And I love that. The way he uses this question, and I'm not sure I've really heard anyone else say it this way. He says, what do you actually want? And he told me once, I asked him, why that word actually? And he just said from experimenting and working with clients that he saw a much greater impact, that it kind of gets rid of the noise in the head. If you're answering the question, what do I actually want? So that word seems to do a lot of work. Anyway, most of what we actually want is sometimes buried under real desire. That real desire is buried under shoulds and some sort of inherited meaning and fear of wanting the wrong thing. So his question seems not about chasing outcomes, but clearing the noise away until something honest is really left. And here's the thing, when you're in touch with real desire, there just isn't clinging there. You just want what you want, and then it's okay either way. So for a while, I was sitting with these two teachings side by side, and I thought, they can't both be right. Let go of wanting or find out what you actually want. Pick one. But in fact, they're not contradicting each other at all. They're pointing to the same freedom, just from two different directions. Singer is saying, release that white-knuckle grasping, that needing life to go a certain way so that you can be happy. And what Michael Neill is saying is that once the grip is gone, then find out what's actually alive in you. Both of them land you in the same place. You're free to want and you're free to let go. So desire isn't the problem, it's attachment to the outcome. I think one of the first spiritual teachers' truths that really landed hard with me, oh my gosh, 35 years ago, reading Deepak Chopra, whatever you think about him. But I remember him saying, to have a goal, but to not be attached to the outcome. And I just thought that was so amazing. And I remember thinking, I don't want to be attached to the outcome. Because what if God, the universe, what if life has something even grander in store for me that I can't even imagine? But I still love the idea of wanting and desire, because I think that there's a creative spark in all of us that is our true nature, that is the life force wanting to express itself. So when desire arises, then creativity seems to follow that. And that, to me, is how we're used by the divine, by this life force flowing through us. So in the last episode, I told you about one of my clients, and I called him Grant, who sold his company after 20 years of building it from nothing, from the ground up, and how he was just making this life-changing amount of money. And, every marketer, every marker saying that, he won. And now, 6 months later, he sold his company, and he called me in that quiet panic. I don't know who I am without it. But here's what I saw with Grant. His wanting, all those years of building that company, it wasn't just pure desire. It wasn't what he actually wanted. There was this clinging in it. Underneath, I want to build this, was I am somebody because I'm building things and I'm making money. The wanting was entangled with proving, with mattering, with earning his place. And me too. Me too. That was my MO, a lot of my MO. Not all of it, but I felt that, clinging and grasping and needing to want things because I wanted the validation. So my work with Grant was never to get him to stop wanting things. It was to help him find out what he actually wanted, underneath somewhat of a need to prove himself. That was pretty strong for a lot of his life. But what was genuinely alive in him once the scoreboard wasn't running anymore? And so eventually he built something again, a small foundation. And now he's doing work he genuinely loves. Genuinely loves it. But it came from this entirely different place. Not clinging or proving. It was just what was alive. What is alive in him? He wants to do it. He's doing it. And he'd be fine either way if it ended tomorrow. That's both teachers in one story. So Singer would say that Grant had to release the attachment to being someone through achievement. And Neill would say Grant had to discover what he actually wanted once that attachment stopped driving him. So it's really the same shift, just going through two different doors. So all of this is not really theoretical for me right now either. I'm in Colorado. I'm not doing much by conventional standards or measures. And there's this ease to it. I'm allowing I'm not forcing anything. I'm not waking up with a to-do list. I'm not, setting out goals. But alongside that ease, there are things that I actually genuinely want. A friend of mine is coming to visit. I'm looking forward to that. I'm taking a trip to take a look at a couple 55-plus communities that I might consider moving to. I'm attending a retreat in October in Santa Fe. So I want those things. And none of them comes from a should or from any kind of proving or needing my calendar to look a certain way. So I'm just living in both, seeing what unfolds, being with what is and loving it, and having these wants, having these desires. They're like dancing together. They're not fighting each other. So if somewhere along the way you were told that you had to choose between wanting or allowing, doing or being, engagement or surrender, I don't think you have to pick. I don't think you have to choose, because they're not opposites pulling against each other. To me, they look like life moving, dancing, moving as one through engagement and one through surrender. And life doesn't really care which door you walk through. You end up in the same room anyway. You get to want things, and you get to let go of wanting. And most days, if you're honest, you'll probably do some of both. See you next week. Thank you for listening to Identity Matters. I hope you found this episode insightful. If you're ready to delve further into this journey of self-discovery and uncover your innate wholeness, I invite you to consider one-on-one coaching with me. Together, we can explore the unique challenges and opportunities in your life or your business or both. And through that exploration, help you align with your true self. To learn more about my coaching services, visit drkathleenperry.com/services.